George here with you, aka VHS82 apostrophe, and today what I have for you is sort of kind of a reaction video, I guess. Maybe sort of kind of not really, but been wanting to do something for this like this for a long time. But Lonnie, my buddy, who just recently put up, maybe a week or so ago, put up a video about ideas of renewing or your passions when it comes to collecting and your collections. And so that video is down there below for you to definitely check out, and you need to check it out. In light or lieu of all the videos, it seems like more and more, you know, whether it's people just giving up on their collections, selling off their collections, some are bailing over to streaming. They've sort of lost the passion to collect, and quite frankly, maybe they're just burned out on it for varied reasons. But anyways, so I just want to spend a few minutes here and talk about, maybe more than a few, and talk about, like Lonnie, what keeps me going, or what's really, what keeps the fire going, I guess. And Lonnie did say, and I just popped in my head and I don't want to forget it. But he did make the point that, you know, if he were to stop collecting today, I mean, just stop, would he be happy with all that he has? And I believe he said, yeah, he would. But there still lies within him a passion to continue and collect. And so, you know, I thought about that question, and I thought, you know, if I just stopped today, would I be happy? And I think the answer is yeah. I mean, I got pretty much, I mean, the most important things, the things that really inspired me. Some of those things will come up in this video today. But some of the, you know, the really hardcore reasons or that I started this was to reclaim, I guess, part of that lost childhood of going into the VHS store and renting, and my love for cinema and just certain pieces I just wanted to have. The Gates of Hell trilogy by Lucio Fulci. I mean, some of my favorites from the early days, and just wanting them so I could at any given time not rely on streaming or the idea that I have to pay to rent something for $3.99, $4.99, $5.99. I'm talking old junk here. And we're not even talking about the brand new stuff that might cost $20 just to rent it. And, you know, once you watch it, you're done. There's your $20. I guess it's not that big of a deal if you got to, you know, thrown a party or something and you got everyone thrown in $5 and you're able to watch the newest movie that just dropped. I mean, that's fine. You're out $5 or whatever. That's fine. But really, just to sit home by yourself, I mean, it's just not feasible for me. And in fact, just last night, I was surfing a little bit, stream, because we do have some streaming. I try to avoid it, stay away from it, because here's my trap. As soon as I don't care what it is, man. It could be HBO Max, it could be, you know, Netflix, Prime, you know, and we only got a few services. But I don't know, man. I'll just stare at the TV and just click, and I get burned out on just looking at my TV, trying to figure out what to watch. And so I either just, you know, put that on pause, come downstairs, grab something on my collection, go back upstairs, throw it in. And that just works way more easily for me. Now, I will say this. Last night, I did see, or was reminded by something on HBO Max, and that is the newest adaptation of Salem's Lot with Louis Pullman, and I did watch it. In fact, the boys, we all watched it together last night, and that was fun. That wasn't a bad. There were certain aspects of it that I really enjoyed. Some of the supernatural, you know, tone, I guess, of the vampires, the crosses, and some of that stuff was fun. And Louis Pullman was just, I thought for the most part, he was great. And using what's his name song there, Sundown, as a bookend, I thought was pretty good. Anyway, so news. Before we really get going, news. Just a few things I noticed this week. And now, this should have been up Sunday. Should have did the Sunday, but it's Tuesday now. So It is what it is. My Bloody Valentine enjoyed its 45th anniversary. Not sure if you took time to watch that or revisit that during Valentine's Day, but that came out in 1981 and was released on February 11th. Build-up continues for Psycho Killer, this new movie slasher coming out, I think, this Thursday night, Friday. The producer, or the director, actually produced 8mm and Zombieland. So he's got mostly producing in his background. Gavin Plone. Apparently they announced a new Mummy movie. Brandon Fraser and Rachel Weisz apparently are teaming back up together. We'll see how that goes. Evil Dead, the new one that's coming after Burns, apparently has a title now, Evil Dead Wrath, filmed by Francis Galuppi. I noticed, though, no cinematographer has been selected yet for that project, but apparently it is greenlit and flying. So, Evil Dead, my Bloody Valentine. Oh, okay, so got Scream 7 in just a couple weeks. Pretty hyped. I saw a little blurb. I don't know if it's, sometimes you can't trust everything that pops up in your feed, but there was a sort of like a meme or whatever that popped up, announcing that apparently this film, and I should have looked into it just to see if it's true or not, but didn't go through any test screenings. I really hope that's true. I am not a fan of test screenings at all. I think it does more to hurt the movie than help the movie in the end, in its final product. But that could be interesting to know if that's true or not. But the big one is the news over the week. Mike Flanagan apparently is helming a new adaptation of Stephen King's The Mist. That's sort of garnered a little bit of conversation. Frank Darabont's film adaptation, I think, is near perfect film. Love that film. I can't imagine in a million years somebody like Michael Flanagan would sign up just to do a remake, especially so early, and especially of a film that, quite frankly, there's no need to do a remake of. But no real announcement or word as to what this looks like. Really hope it's the same universe, same world that Darabont sort of created. Nothing to do with those characters, but just that world, I think, would be really intriguing, and maybe bring elements from the book, if there are any, that were not tapped into. Usually there are elements that can be tapped into. And so Mike Flanagan, and quite a guy on Stephen King stuff. I'm trying to think, what was the movie that he just did that I really, really did enjoy? Well, of course, no, it's just going to escape my mind. Oh, well, there was the Dr. Sleep. Yeah, that's probably what I'm thinking of. The extended cut of that is absolutely fantastic. So anyways, so a little bit of news. Oh, and I can't remember if I even mentioned it, but the reason I threw that up just as some background is Don Coscarelli's birthday today. I do believe he turned 72. Born in 54, so do the math, make sure I'm right. Apparently, I goof up numbers sometimes. So, that being said, happy birthday, man. God, what would life as a kid be like without Don Coscarelli in your life? In the original Phantasm. Good stories there. Anyways, why we are here. Let's talk physical media. So, there's videos all over the place. I'm just done. I'm tired. I'm getting rid of my collection. And people begging the question, is physical media dead? I mean, is it gone? Well, the world we live in today is not the world we lived in if you were around then, like me, in the late 70s, mid-late 70s. It's not the same as it was in the 80s, or 90s for that matter, or the early 2000s. Everything is always evolving and changing, and sometimes things from old come back in, and then sometimes those things that you're used to disappear and you don't see them again. But with physical media, it seems like regardless of how, it's almost like we want to build a climate where we almost collectively force physical media out just because we're always, it's dead. And no, things aren't the same today anymore. And they never will be the same as they were when we were kids. However far back that goes for you. For me, I was born in 70. So 75, I'm watching Jaws on the big screen. 77, I'm watching, I remember seeing Star Wars at the drive-in. I remember going to a double feature at the drive-in, probably my 12th or 13th birthday, seeing The Fog and The Legacy as a double feature. And then the whole era of the drive-in cinema, right? And then the whole era of the video industry and VHS and going into the stores and all of that junk. And then eventually, you know, mom and pop shops gave way to the video factories of the world, which eventually gave way to the Blockbusters of the world, which ultimately gave way to a red box. And initially, of course, Netflix, ordering through mail and all that junk. But then you had the red box at the grocery store, and even those are pretty much disappearing, which is, I guess, too bad. I mean, I'd rather go pop something relatively new out of the red box than look for it on streaming. That's just me. But and so now we're left in this weird place where you can assume it feels like I mean, you know, you go into Best Buy now and, you know, I mean, they don't carry physical media anymore, at least not geographically, not where I am. Walmart, my selection at Walmart's not bad. It's not probably what it used to be in the older days, but it's not bad. They got a, you know, always revolving, you know, array of just stuff coming in and out. But I noticed quite a fair amount of Steelbook 4Ks, older releases too. I mean, like older films that are getting the new releases on 4K. So I see that stuff, like Tales from the Dark Side. It just pops in my head. I saw that on the shelf just walking down the aisle. My Barnes & Nobles has quite an incredible collection with its own Criterion, anime, and then just some shelves, man, of just a lot of stuff. Now, the problem with something like Barnes & Nobles or perhaps a Record Store in your mall is pricing. You know, there's a place in my mall, I don't even know if they're still open, but the last time I was in there, you know, you would run into Arrow titles, Scream Factory, but very pricey, 30, 40 range. Barnes & Noble's very pricey. Now they do have things, you know, you just got to take time. If you find have a place that has a fair amount in their inventory, you just got to take the time and just, you know, start at the beginning of the shelf and work your way down and look, and you're bound to find something that's marked $9.99 or something like that. I saw, I think it was when I was at Barnes & Noble's, and I was taking not a deep dive look. I just didn't have the time or the money to really pick anything up. But I did notice, you know, for like $10, they had Armageddon on, I want to say it was DVD, maybe Blu-ray. Anyways, but so beautiful. Just a really nice. And if you got the money, man, to drop, you're only helping out companies like Arrow and Scream and Criterion and others. And then there's Amazon, right? There's that way out. And then, as I'll show you in my video, I'm going to start going through some things that I recommend or things that help me, right? They might not necessarily work for you, but there may be something I say that will work for you, or maybe you've never really thought of before. And then again, don't forget Lonnie's video down there. Definitely check that out, because the more videos like ours that work to promote physical media, because my buddy Jason says physical media matters, and it does, right? Especially, not especially, but it is easier because I was born out of that era, and now I'm holding on to it. And that's, again, the driving force of why I collect. Now, like Lonnie said, that question, if I were to stop today, would I be happy? I would be. And a reason for a fair amount of my collection is due to working, doing reviews for BodyBags for, was almost 6-7 years or something. So there's a lot of movies that I bought in that time that I probably would have never bought. But, you know, we had a theme week. We were collectively deciding on, hey, let's do this as a theme, this, that, look at this particular year. So we had to find a movie in that particular year. And so as a result, my collection just began to really grow. And I have gone back and revisited things that I reviewed for BodyBags that, quite frankly, I might have never bought if it wasn't for that, or the occasional podcast that I've been fortunate enough to be part of. So, I mean, there are reasons, and then my just love for physical media, my love for film, and to preserve film, and to have the ability and the convenience at any given time just to kind of walk down, pluck something off my shelf, and watch something. I mean, it's what drives us. So let's just jump into this, I guess. First thing, okay, so, like Lonnie said, keeping that passion alive. Some things that I do, or some things that because look, going out into the wild, it's not the same as it was going out into the wild 15, 20, 30 years ago. Okay, it's a different world out there, and you got to know where to look, right? And so, Amazon is great if you're looking for certain things or you're building certain things within your collection. If you know where to look, you can usually find, save a lot of money through Amazon. It's not the same as being in the wild and going through that shelf and finding something and then grabbing onto it and it's yours and you're taking it home with you. But it does satisfy at least a small part. And what really made that more for me was going region free, was getting a player that would allow me to bypass region locked material, mainly B, right? Stuff out of Europe. And the reason I did that, mainly, not just to broaden my horizon, but there were things within my collection that, quite frankly, at the time, there was no release currently. And so, but I did find it over in the, Amazon UK, or Amazon Germany, or Amazon Italy. And so when I was able to, and we got our first region-free player, which generally you got to go on Amazon to buy, because anytime I've looked in a store, they don't even know what I'm talking about if I, start talking that junk. But the first, let's see, let me just grab it here. A couple of things I picked up, having the freedom, which does, when you're buying abroad, there is something, again, now none of it is the same as being out in a store looking through a shelf and finding something, but there is something a little bit more unique when you're looking at things, say, in Germany or UK or whatever, and you stumble upon things that just never were given a release over here, or at least presently there wasn't a release. And so, Ghost House was one of the things. And so Amazon Italy, I found La Casa 3, or Ghost House as we know it. And this was the very first copy of this film I got into my physical media, or my physical collection. Now, eventually, Scream Factor, I think, did put out a double feature of Ghost House and Witchery. But before that, this was one of those films from the old VHS glory days that I just really, really, really wanted in my collection. Plus, I'm an Italian fan, right? Then, sometimes you just can be goofy. You're doing an order. You got room to throw something on. You notice that one of your favorite films in the entire world has a unique release over there called Das Ding. It's awesome. So, I mean, I grabbed it. I mean, because The Thing is one of those things that now there's, other than the cover and the title, meaning The Thing, like Das Boot or whatever, it's just fun to kind of have that as my growing thing collection, just for fun. Now, I got this. I'll say this, a lot of people would say I'm crazy for this, but I absolutely despise the American artwork release for Romero's Land of the Dead. And when I saw this on Amazon UK, I could not resist at all, period. I mean, that is the poster I saw when I saw this in the theater and walking into the theater. And so I had to pick it up off Amazon UK. Now, again, it's region locked. You can't play this in a regular player, but if you have a region free player, you can. And so, yeah, I did it because I like looking at my physical media, and it just, this cover is pretty awesome, right? One of the very first things I ever ordered going region free was a movie that currently did not have a release. It was a movie I desperately wanted in my collection. Now, of course, it's had multiple releases of course. That's just the way it goes. But Anthropophagus, or The Beast. Um, excuse me, watch it if you dare. Again, the old heyday of VHS renting. This was a movie that was one of the movies that caused me to fall in love with Italian cinema. And it's been one of my faves. Now, since I got it on 4K via the same company, 88 Films. So, it's sort of a bookend, the thing that really got me into overseas buying. And got the 4K of it now on my shelf, which is pretty awesome. But then there are things like this. The old 51 thing from the thing from another world. Christian Nyby or Howard Hawks as producer, maybe director. I mean, I think Christian Nyby directed it, but Howard Hawks' hands are all over it, of course. In fact, unlike Tobe Hooper and Spielberg, I would say there's probably more of a chance Howard Hawks actually did probably more of this than Christian Nyby. But I don't know. I mean, you never know about those things exactly. You just have fun talking about them. But what makes this release from the UK really outstanding, and we have never seen this, even though The Thing from Another World got a Blu-ray release over here of late, they did not transfer off of this release what they should have, and that is a director commentary. Well, a director commentary, but done by John Carpenter, who studied this film at USC, and he is a huge fan of Howard Hawks. He paid money to give the commentary track on this particular release. It's a 3-disc set, so you got two copies of the black and white. You got an unauthorized color. But most importantly, you have John Carpenter talking through this classic film, and only really then do you really begin to get a sense of, well, why he did what he did in The Thing. Because there are some things he did emulate, not so much because it was in this film, as much as it was a Howard Hawks thing, like cramming as many people into one shot as possible, but doing it that seems flawless or seamless or natural, right? In the communication that is being presented, the conversation, whatever. So this, to me, is a gem. If this were the only reason why you go region-free to shop overseas, this is it, man. I mean, because nowhere here can you pick up a release of this with John Carpenter's commentary on this old 51 film. And I love that. It's that, and it's like when I do have the old DVD of Friday 13th Part 4, the final chapter, with Adam Green and a fan commentary on there, and that's always cool. And then I do believe Rob Zombie put a commentary on Munsters Go Home, I think is the name of that Munsters film. And we need more of that, man. We need more directors, not necessarily, although it's cool, them commenting on their own film, because we all love it, right? But if they comment on an older film, something they loved from the past that just got a brand new release, and we're invited to give a special, film historian commentaries are great and everything, but it's really cool when you can get another director's take, like Guillermo del Toro gives a nice little intro to the Blue Underground release of Zombie. Now, how much I would have loved just to have heard, if you wanted to do it, a commentary track on Zombie, listening to him, especially the enthusiasm that he displays just on that interview, that short introduction, is pretty awesome. So anyways, The Thing from Another World with John Carpenter's commentary track sort of wraps up why region free, man. And it just opens up a interesting avenue, I guess. And even there, this was my Arrow big box set that I got out of the UK, which is maybe one of the best box sets I have in my collection, was the Arrow release of the Phantasm set with the ball and the book and all that junk. So, region free, consider that as an option if you've never done it, all right? And look, if you're going to spend the money on a new player just because you've been wanting to anyways, or maybe you need to, might be a good time to go 4K, but get a combined piece of equipment that allows you to be region free and 4K, like I have upstairs. That, and of course you have to have the TV and everything too, but there's another thing, right? And obviously all this costs money at the end of the day, and so you got to do what you got to do if it is something that you want to do, right? The second thing is go out into the wild. Just to give you a couple reasons, my daughter picked up a couple years ago, and I still have not opened this yet. I'm sort of afraid to, but at a I want to say it was a thrift store of sorts, but she picked up found this on a thrift store, still factory sealed, the original Alien trilogy set on VHS, and I absolutely love and adore this, and just the feeling, the texture of the cover, the box. I don't know if I'll ever open them. Probably crazy if I don't, but also crazy if I do. This has an interesting story. I was in not Barnes and Noble's, Second and Charles, and which customarily they do not stock their shelves with VHS tapes at all, period. And so one day, coming down, about to turn around the corner of the aisle, checking out the horror section, and this, of course, how does this not catch your eye when it's sort of jutting out of the shelf? And I saw that and I immediately raced, grabbed hold of it, picked it up. I'm like, I can't believe what I'm looking at, simply because at home I had Evil Dead 2, the Anchor Bay. I also had the Army of Darkness, Anchor Bay, and now suddenly I found myself with a trilogy complete. And yeah, random thing, couldn't plan on it. You just don't plan on those things. You just happen to be out and it's that day, right? It's that day. And it's just a measly $2 I think I paid for it, which seems insane, but I mean, those things can happen. One day, this isn't like the most significant thing, but it's something I wanted, and for I think $2 each, I got Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 on DVD. Gave them some new cases, so they look pretty good. But again, a few bucks, man. A few bucks, now it's on my shelf. I would say, is it my only Arrow out in the wild? It could be my only Arrow pickup. Now, this wasn't as cheap, but it was cheaper probably than buying it brand new off Amazon. Maybe. Picked up Bride of the Reanimator on off Arrow for Out in the Wild for, I want to say it was $20-some or whatever, probably closer to the 30 mark. But the one thing I love about CD Warehouse is when you buy stuff out of there, I mean, everything is mint, man. I mean, they just don't stock their shelves with it. Is that the price? No. Is it the price? I just wonder. I'm just curious if it is in here. Yeah. $29.99. So $30 for this double disc Arrow. And so that was pretty special because I had always wanted Bride of the Reanimator. I did not have it. I have Reanimator, but not the Bride. And now I need Beyond Reanimator. I'm hoping I'll stumble across that out in the wild at one time. But so this is, a lot more money than I would want to spend out in the wild on something in particular. But still, it was hard to say no to that. Then there's the day. There's the day I was at, and I wish we still had this store. It was called Movie World? No, something like that. Anyways, it was a mixture of old and new, but top heavy when it came to new. But if you were patient and took the time and went methodically through shelf by shelf by shelf, you could walk out of there with some special items. Now, this particular movie, I really desperately wanted in my collection. And one day, there it was. I could not believe my eyes, grabbed it, and for a measly $8, at the time it was, I don't know, 80 plus or somewhere between $80 and $100, I think, if you wanted to pick it up on Amazon used. And that is called Peter Jackson's Dead Alive. $8, probably was $7 something. I don't know, tag's not there anymore, but yeah, I mean, what a movie to have in my collection. You know, same artwork as, you know, the VHS box that I would have read it back as a kid. And of course, some of us are still waiting that beautiful 4K box set of the early work, Dead Alive and Meet the Feebles and um, what's the other one? You know what I'm talking about. The infamous Alien on the cover. You know, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. But there's supposed to be a beautiful 4K box of that mess coming down the pike. And then there's this. I'll move on to the next one. CD Warehouse. And I went there with the expressed interest out in the wild, looking specifically for this movie, hoping against hope, because anytime you do that, you never do. But on this particular day, at this particular store, I got what I've always wanted, and that was the Anchor Bay DVD release of Cemetery Man, Michele Soavi's film. Now, the reason I wanted this particular release against the others is because there are some beautiful releases of this film, but the covers are way too explicit for me. I like to display my stuff, and I just would rather not display something that explicit, where this is just sort of a traditional artwork that you can. I mean, you know, right? And plus, I always dug this anyways. I'm pretty sure this could have been. Was this the VHS cover? It seems like it was the VHS cover when we rented it back in the day. But on that day, it worked out. And that stuff doesn't always happen. But when it does, boy. So going out in the wild, finding a store, Goodwill. Used to be VHS hunting, man. Remember when Dollar Tree, you went through that whole time period where they had tons of movies and people were just putting up their $100 pickups or whatever, hauls, $100 hauls or whatever from Dollar Tree. I can't remember the last time a Dollar Tree around me had anything worth, if anything at all, to pick up. So I'm not sure what happened. Some kid told me one day when I asked, maybe there was a chain of ownership or something, or maybe they just changed their minds. They didn't want to invest the money anymore in stocking, putting, whatever. So, but it is fun. It is fun, especially when you take your kids with you, make a day out of it, or at least a good part of a day. And really, there's been plenty of times that we've gone out in the wild, because we do have a couple stores that we do go to. I mean, we can come back home with a bunch of junk for $50 or under. I mean, and that's a fun day, man. That's a fun day. Here's another thing. Number 3, do a deep dive. This video is going to be a little long, but maybe not. Do a deep dive. This won't take a long. In the last couple of videos, I did one where I'm building up my Blue Underground DVD collection. At some point, I just want a whole shelf with just Blue Underground titles. It's just something I want to look at. I want to see it. It's me, my thing, and I explained why in my video. 1982. I just did a video talking about all the horror films that I own from 82. That's my year. It's my favorite year for film. And not just horror, but just the wide releases that came, especially in the summer. But at some point, if I think I have, how many did I have? Wasn't near as many as my Blue Underground titles. I think I'm up to 25 on those. But with my 82 titles, if I ever got a significant portion, like if I had 24 or 25 horror movies from 1982, at that point I might make room on my shelf for just that own thing and have them probably in alphabetical order within said year. But right now I don't have that many, as you see in the video that I posted last. But it is an idea. If you have a favorite year in film and never thought about starting to build a collection in said year or said label. Lonnie mentioned something about Screen Factory steelbooks, about doing something like that. Now, there is another idea, and one that I've been thinking about. I got to back out into the wild to really start putting into some practice, but it has become pretty apparent to me that I'm probably not ever going to own the wonderful Scream Factory box set of Friday the 13th. And so, I picked this up one day out at CD Warehouse, gave it a new case, because the one I bought it was pretty rough looking. But Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D, mainly just because I wanted the artwork. I've always been the biggest fan of this. And even though this kind of bothers me a little bit, having this, plus again, a CD Warehouse. So the cases may be a little rough, but usually the insides, they got the stuff that's in there. But anyways, I was giving thought to, building slowly but surely an entire Friday the 13th collection on DVD, like this, aiming for the original artwork. Because a lot of the revamped artwork it's just not something I'm into. But I mean, that's a thought, that's an idea. And so next time I'm out in the wild, if I happen to run across or see another Friday film that has the original artwork DVD that eventually will look good like that, I'll do it. It may be an idea. A favorite subgenre of yours? Like for me, I love island horror. I'm sure I got quite a few island horror pieces, but I go after them sometimes. If there's something like that, find that niche. If you don't have one, find one and start building it. I mean, just an idea. Then there's this thing I thought about, going from VHS to 4K. If you're like me and you have at least a number of VHS tapes, but you happen to have amongst those VHS tapes movies that you have never got another release for those. I'm thinking, Full Metal Jacket's what I'm thinking. For the longest time, this is how me and my one son James, this is how we watched Full Metal Jacket. This is all I had. I didn't have the DVD or anything. All I had was this. Well, for Christmas, my oldest son Sam got me the 4K steelbook of Full Metal Jacket. So a few nights ago, we for the first time, I opened this up, put it in, and me and him experienced this for the first time in 4K. I loved it. I was impressed. The sound, just the color palette, the richness of some of the colors in the scenes. But for some reason, this is a war movie that he has really latched onto. But so making the jump. If you got something on VHS that you've never had on any other release, but it's something you would like to. Maybe you don't have a functioning VCR. Maybe you do, but you just like a better quality of it. I'm thinking, I got more than you would think on my shelf. Just reaching for my next thing to talk about here. I'm just thinking of a few things. Prom night. I have never gotten prom night, but I have the very first VHS release with the open box thing, whatever. I got that down there. Conan the Barbarian. I know that recently got a new release. Was it Arrow? I think maybe put that out. And recently I have done upgrades. Like the only version of RoboCop I had was on VHS until I found the I picked up the Criterion out in the wild release of RoboCop, and I do have a small bundle of Criterion things that The Devil's Backbone, Godzilla, 1954 Godzilla, Scanners. I got that on Criterion, and I did have that on regular DVD, just its initial release, but the Scanners release. It does look a lot, even if it's still DVD, it does look better. It does look better. So jump from VHS to 4K. It's just something you could do. If you got a box of VHS tapes that you've had packed away forever and can't even remember the last time you opened it up and looked through to see what you have, You may find something in there and go, man, I would really dig having this on Blue, or even 4K maybe for that matter, or just maybe a nice DVD release of it. So there's an idea. Jumping from VHS to 4K. The last one I want to talk about before I involve the last aspect of this is, I'm not sure how you title this or whatever, but before I do, here's another thing to think about. You go to, like, if you're ever able to go to a horror movie convention or whatnot, they always have vendors picking up an old Fango Man that you might have had as a kid and lost, and wanted to get it back in your collection. Conventions are always a blast, especially for the vendor tables. If you were fortunate, let's say, I saw my very first Lucio Fulci movie on the big screen was A Cat in the Brain, and I wanted to display the ticket, and so I just basically took an image off the internet, went to Walmart and had it blown up and framed and put my ticket in there, and this is what you get. So that's an interesting idea that it doesn't cost a lot of money. You just got to grab something off the internet, go to Walmart, blow it up. When I saw the Beyond on the big screen, I wanted to do the same thing. Plus, I have sort of a corner of my movie room devoted to the Gates of Hell trilogy. And I found this on the internet. It's just a small image, but I took it to Walmart, blew it up, and then put my ticket in there. And this is like right part of the Gates of Hell trilogy. Now, I do have a 40 by 27 House by the Cemetery poster, and then the poster of the Gates of Hell that came with the Arrow release some time ago. And then something over there my son drew for me that I framed, as well as a picture of Lucio Fulci with my zombie ticket in there. But I mean, these are things you can just do on your own, and don't cost a lot of money. Frames at Walmart don't cost anything, really, when you think about it. So the other idea is, it takes something like, okay, so this I stumbled upon by accident. It wasn't with any intention. But Eli Roth, I love this guy as a director. Maybe more so, I love him as a fan of horror cinema and Italian horror cinema. And I realized after a while that I was quietly amassing a little pile of interviews and things that he was attached to. So like on my Alien 2 on Earth, he's got a special interview on here talking about the film, and it is a blast, a hoot. It's a hoot to watch because he just gets so excited about this junk. And same thing on the Arrow Nightmare City. He's got another thing on there. I don't know if it has a specific title, but I'm just looking for his name to pop off at me real quick. I know there he is. Zombies Gone Wild, director, producer, and actor Eli Roth on Nightmare City and the Wild Cinema of Umberto Lenzi. Just a hoot to watch. Just a hoot to watch. And then I do believe, I'm almost certain, positive, on my Zombie Holocaust release, there is Eaten Alive, the rise and fall of the Italian cannibal film, I think it's called, where he's in there as one of. And that's on this particular, you can find it other places, but and then finally on my Grindhouse Cannibal Holocaust, I just realized the other day, I had no idea that I gotta be careful what I show. I guess I'll just do it like this. So like there's a book in there, right, that comes with the whole package, and his is the very first essay that he wrote in there. Let's see if there's a title to it. A Subversive Masterpiece by Eli Roth. So I got something in print. I got him as part of a much larger documentary, and then a few releases where he is just doing an interview. And so I've quietly amassed a little bit of extras from a director who just happens to contribute to the world of physical media by being part of these things. And that's fun too. So, I mean, there's this like endless of things that you can do, right? To just renew your love, I guess, for collecting or finding new ways of doing new things with your collection. And I don't have much, really. I mean, it may be for some. And I don't know, quite frankly, even if we move to our dream house and I got a movie room twice as big as this or 3 times as big as this, yeah, I'd find ways to fill it out, but it wouldn't necessarily be with physical media. I may. I mean, there would be more physical media, but like I would probably turn my attention from films to more posters because that's a love of mine as well. I love posters. And if I could do that, that would be fun. Also, my dream, if I could have that perfect movie room, is to get some of my book collection somehow integrated in there with the movie, and just kind of a multifaceted functioning room with posters and all that kind of junk. Maybe a few movie prop kind of stuff displayed, right? That would be my perfect ideal. Right now, what I have is a small slice of what maybe will be for me someday. And this makes me happy, very happy. I can't tell you how many times I've walked in here. My wife doesn't quite understand, but I'll come in here, close the door, and just sit down, and I'll just look from my couch or whatever. I'll just look at my shelves, and somehow that it's like therapy or something. I don't know. I mean, but you know what? Whatever works, right? Whatever works. So I'm going to sort of end it there. I'm going to sort of pause for a minute because there's one last thing I want to talk about, and then I'll cut the video. And I apologize if it's definitely longer than you're used to. But I just something I really wanted to do for a long time. And I really thank Lonnie more than anything for doing the video he did. His is only will be half as long as mine, so you definitely need to check it out. It's down there. And yeah, it's just my love for physical media, man. Will it ever die? I don't think so, man. As long as there's people like us who have the love and at least somewhat of a financial ability to partake and space to build, I don't think, as long as there's people out there wanting it, Anyways, well, I'm going to go pause and be right back and with the last little piece. All right, so let's end this with the last thing I wanted to talk about, and that is, if you're able to, can involve your kids and your love and passion for physical media collecting, even going to horror film or conventions of sorts. We went to the Living Dead convention at the beginning of this past summer. Took these guys with me. Pretty sure it was both their first time ever being at a convention. And one of the joys that we got to share in was getting a photo op with Greg Nicotero. And got to meet Tom Savani and just a whole bunch of stuff, right? But physical media. So James,
yeah,
say something about physical media.
Well, I mean, it's definitely better than like streaming services and whatnot, because just like that, a streaming service could one day have a movie and the next day not have a movie, and there's nothing you can do about it. You want to watch, like, if you wanted to watch a movie, oh well, it's not there anymore because they don't have it. But if you have it on physical media, then you always have it, and there's not really anything that's going to make you not have it. Another thing is, there are some movies that I feel like look better with, like, less quality. So, like, for example, I watched the 4K Full Metal Jacket with my dad a couple nights ago, and after the movie, Dad was talking like how it looked really nice, but I was saying, I honestly liked it on VHS a bit more, because Full Metal Jacket is just one of those kind of movies to me where I feel like it's the kind of movie to me that it looks better with, like, less quality, just because of how the movie's nature and, like, how it goes about. Doesn't really, I mean, it still looks really good on 4K, of course, but it just feels, the atmosphere just feels better with the, like, ruggedness and whatnot of the VHS, and just, like, that kind of older look on it. And if you have streaming services, you can't replicate that look in any way, because all the movies have the same kind of, just quality.
Interesting. Max, what do you got?
Physical media is better than streaming services because you don't have, like, all you need is to buy the movie and a player, and you don't have to pay every month or week.
Okay.
And another thing I like about them or stuff like it is movie hunts, and we get to go places and like buy movies and games. And I like them because I have a DVD player and a VHS player in my room.
So there you go. Involve your kids. I guarantee, man, a lot of kids these guys' age, some probably don't even have any clue of what a VHS tape even is. But these guys, by the nature of just having a combo unit in their room, know all about throwing a VHS tape in there. And now, of course, we got a DVD player in there for them. So, but like we got the PS5, and one of the things that we stress here is downloading a game or buying a game.
Downloading a game, like buying and downloading games on the PS5.
Yeah. We'd rather buy one and have one, because again, I mean, you stream it. Anything you stream, you just don't know how long you have it for. So, well, there you go. Any last comments, guys, you want to share?
Not really. Pretty much summed it up.
No.
All right. Is physical media dead, or collecting? Is it dead? I don't think so. With people like us around, and with these guys growing up that continue, like we said, if there's a market, there will be people there supplying the market. How many times did we think vinyl was dead? And now look, anywhere you go, vinyl is there, out to be bought. So it is what it is. But probably went way too long on this one, but I just felt the need to. So thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Hit the like button, sub if you haven't subbed. And yeah, until next time, as always, go Bills.
We might be useful to you.